Welcome back, Syndicate members. It is I, Joshua Mammoth, back with another independent comic book review. I'd like to welcome all of our new subscribers to the channel. Please sit back and enjoy the calm, smooth sounds of my voice as I review this excellent comic. I'd also like to welcome Sonia back. So we're going to go ahead and dive into this. Tonight's selection is another Luis Diaz, published by Nebulous Comics, and it's entitled Video Witch Feature Presentation, Captain Future and the Might of Mekano. So I went out and got an extra issue for you to take home and read. What was your overall impression of this book?
Honestly, at first, seeing the cover right off the bat, it felt nostalgic. It felt like I was going back to the old school comics, and I really did like the art, the cover art a lot.
Yes, the cover was amazing.
It was, actually, and honestly, the whole concept that they did in that cover really brought me back to the days in Blockbuster, just roaming the aisles, scanning the titles.
Especially like the staff pick sticker.
Yes!
And, and then on the back, I don't know if you notice, on the back cover, it says actually I wrote it down, PG-13 and high action violence.
Yeah, they really went all in on that theme, the good old cassette tape videos, and I loved it.
Well, if it wasn't enough for them to have a luchador on the cover for me, the high action violence was definitely the key sell point there.
Yes,
I was like, this is right up my alley. And so this one was actually sent to me by Luis, and because you can see he autographed it for me right there.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay, Luis.
So he sent me this along with the Video Gaga book that I reviewed last time.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
And so yeah, this is basically a Video Witch #2. Yeah.
And so he does the art, and he wrote the book.
He did. Yes.
Himself.
Yeah. Completely created by.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's dive in. So right away, when you open this up, you see the beautiful black and white.
Yes.
That I like. First off, because it's for me very nostalgic.
Right.
The black and white comics from like back in the 70s, and then we see a Video Witch kind of getting her restocking on, I guess, or reshelving.
Can I just say, she is literally my spirit animal. She's awesome. She's very feisty.
Yeah, the attitude is pretty awesome.
Yes, the attitude was clear very first day.
So pretty much she's, looking for something for us to watch tonight. So she's reviewing a movie, and we're reviewing that comic book of her reviewing the movie. Yeah.
Fun.
And so anyway, so she selects the Might of Mekano and goes ahead and pops that in. And so this is the part that I really love about Luis's comics, though, is that he really puts in that extra detail with the video cassette goes in.
Yes.
And then it goes to the play, and he has like the different, what do you call it, like the video feed or whatever.
Right.
Where and then it says play on there, and then it goes into the actual story. And I'd like to take a second, too, to say that this was pulled from public domain. Now, granted, the original comic that we'll see later on isn't anywhere near the quality or awesomeness that this one is, but I will say that's a very clever and very creative way to pull public domain out and actually make that very relevant now.
Right, agreed.
So basically what happens is this Mekano is a gigantic, I guess, iron giant looking machine.
Right.
Okay, and it goes on a terror rampage through the business district of this city, which, strangely enough, it says the abandoned business district.
Right.
And there was a couple of little notes in there of people talking about like a new world order or something going on.
Right.
So that's what I also like about Luis, because he throws in these things you don't really know about the whole world being fleshed out yet.
Right.
And that's, for me, I don't really like origin stories all that much. So I like to just dive in and get to the action, which he does immediately by throwing Captain Future right into fight.
It was very high-paced right off the bat. I do love that it is void of the color with the black and white, because it forces you to actually absorb what is going on. and with the backdrops, it was just go from the get go.
Yeah, and so crisp too.
Yes.
Like the black and white is so awesome, and the other thing that I love too is so you have a guy that captures Captain Future on the cell phone, and then that image is uploaded to the news network. And I guess because he's like a super being of some sort, the image is blurry or cloudy.
Right.
You can't really make it out. But the news media makes it out to be potentially the Captain Future from the 40s.
Yes, from the past.
And this section of the comic, for me, it felt kind of like Watchmen for a second, where it was showing like the old Watchmen from back in the day. And he had, has all these heroes, and he actually did a great job of making these guys look like they're from 1940.
Yeah, actually,
right?
I agree.
Like the costuming, the hairstyles, like it really looked like they were from the 40s.
Yeah,
like that was awesome.
Yeah.
So from there, from there, the fight really amps up.
Yes.
And I will say that, and I'll put an overlay here for this specific page, but Lewis has some of the most perfect crossovers that I have ever seen in a comic book. Like, these are two separate pages, but you don't even see the scene here.
No, you don't.
How do you do that?
I know, it's wild.
Yeah, I can't even get mine to have crossovers that good. Like, he has like 2 or 3 in this book that are like absolutely spot on perfect.
They really are, though.
And so they, Mekano and Captain Future, they continue the battle, and essentially, it just decimates the city.
Quickly.
And
I do have to interrupt you, though. I mean, can I just say, a man in a luchador mask, pretty caliente.
Oh, so actually, okay, so I'm glad you said that, because
I'm watching the fight scene play out, and I'm like, I don't know, but I'm rooting for this guy, because,
Yeah, and so I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm actually a huge Lucha Libre fan. Well, pro wrestling in general, but, Lucha Libre is definitely one of my most all-time favorite fighting styles. I mean, going back to like Blue Demon and Santos, right. All the way to like Rey Mysterio Jr. So yeah, when I opened that envelope and I saw there was a luchador on the cover, I was like, yes, this is awesome.
Yeah, it is an art form. You actually see it play out in each scene where he is going after him like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like it doesn't stop. Seriously, like even when Mekano, like he tries to like crush him like that, he's not able to, and then Future actually ends up ripping the guy's arm off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I really loved about Lewis's artwork too. And then in this panel in particular, when the press is flying over with the helicopter, and so you see the reporter, and she's kind of like hanging outside of the helicopter, like filming it as you see Captain Future in the background coming in for that power fist.
Right.
And that's one of my absolute favorite panels in the whole comic, followed by another amazing crossover.
You can't hate it. It is so good. It is so good.
It's so good that I actually put this as one of my rotating desktop images.
I believe it. I believe it.
And so from there, he basically finishes off Mekano, double taps and crushes the head to make sure he's done. And then we find out that the shadow villain is actually Mekano, and that was just a test spot.
Right.
So, yeah, that's where we are.
That's good.
But what's really excellent about this is the analysis of Video Witch after what she thinks about the film.
Yes.
Because she kind of rips this thing to shreds.
Listen, she does not say anything that we weren't thinking. So.
Well, because I love the overall just straight up beat 'em ups. They're easy to read and quick and fun. And actually, I wrote this down. She put it under staff picks next to Run Lobo Run.
Yeah.
Do you remember that movie?
I do.
Wow, that one actually brought me back because I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm probably going to check it out after this podcast. So. Okay, so from there we have 2 new store clerks that we're meeting. Sam's not in this one like in Video Gaga. And so these two guys, Jimmy and Johnny, and essentially they're eyeballs.
Yes, yes.
And they're working there in order to pay off late fees.
Late fees, right.
Right.
And she is boss lady. Well, let's be real, boss babe.
Boss
and,
demon.
Yeah, boss demon. And man, she puts him to work. And she does not hold back.
And speaking of that, like I love all the different like facial features that Lewis gives Video Witch throughout the comic. That's one of my favorite things to look for is all the different facial expressions that he's gonna put in the comic.
Right.
And then some of them, like this one here, that's like a silhouette. It kind of makes your mind wonder, what the hell's going on there?
I know.
And so she has her two lackeys here get the original Captain Future comic, which, let's face it, without Video Witch's necessary commentary, this one was a tough read. Because I read through this one probably 4 times, and I really still have no idea what's going on in this story.
This is, again, taking us way back, the Golden Age era here.
Definitely.
So you did feel the nostalgia, and the fact that he brought it in color did bring it to life.
So did that surprise you when you turned the page?
It did, actually. And I think it was very, there was a lot of intent behind that, because here you are reading this, and now it's front and center. So it's a nod to the old school thing, I think.
Okay, so my main thing that I had about this version of Captain Future was his power set was all over the place.
Oh, it really was. It's actually comical because
it's ridiculously comical.
It was so fun. But our Video Witch actually makes a point to troll the entire comic out, which I found delightful. Because again, she was not saying anything that we weren't thinking.
And the funny part too is that honestly, without her commentary, I don't know if I could have even got through to the next page on this one.
That's fair. Yes.
And definitely the language is pretty dated in this comic too. I think he says he's going to lick the world. Not really sure what's up with that, but it doesn't sound very hygienic.
No, it doesn't.
And so basically, I get through this read, which is, again, I don't even know what happened in this. I don't know. All I know is that in the next issue, he's going back to jail because it tells us at the end.
Right.
But overall, like the guy's moveset's all over the place. Like 1 minute he's on the back of a car because I need to follow these guys and see where they're bound. And then the next page, he's flying.
He's flying.
And flying
flying awkwardly, might I add.
Yeah. Flying awkwardly at the speed of light.
Yeah.
It even says that in the commentary. I'm like, really, the speed of light? But he hitched a ride on a car like Marty McFly a minute ago. Like,
I know.
So yeah,
I love it.
Definitely Lewis's upgrade to Captain Future was not only necessary but certainly needed.
I agree, definitely.
Because that was a train wreck.
Yeah.
But it was good to have it in there, though, to kind of see where the original one came from.
Exactly.
Especially after earlier in the comic with the news segment, it actually had those the characters in there.
Yes, it did.
I think it was called Startling Comics or something like that.
Correct. Yeah.
So after Video Witch reads this, then she does her analysis, which I definitely suggest you check out because she rips this thing to shreds.
It was very delightful.
I mean, you could even tell by her face that she's like, what is this? And actually, this is one of my favorite parts of the comic, too, because is she talking to me or is she talking to herself?
Right.
Is there like a fake audience that she is perceiving there?
Right.
I don't know what's going on here because you see the two eyeball guys, Jimmy and Johnny, and they're debating on whether to interrupt her or not.
Right.
And so they eventually decide, we do need to interrupt her, and they want to know if they could work for her for free rentals. And she's basically like, but that's the exact same thing that you're doing right now.
What you're doing right now. How does that make sense?
And so she's like, yeah, you know what? Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. And so they're pretty excited by this news. And Video Witch seems okay with it. So we're going to move into the analysis portion because I'm dying to know what you thought about this book. So first, what did you like about this book?
I liked that it did not take itself too seriously. It was a fun read from start to finish, an easy read, and up until we got to the original comic. But I think Lewis's ability to inject the video witch in between and kind of have her make fun with us, because that's exactly what we were thinking, eased it along to where it was good and quick to the end.
And his timing with the humor portion is really good.
Exactly, it's on point.
Yeah.
It keeps you engaged. It kept me engaged anyway, reading it.
Yeah, I do enjoy reading like all of her little quirks and that she has to say, because they're timed so perfectly.
She's a vibe.
Yeah.
She's a vibe.
I also put on here, there's one point where Captain Future is in front of Mekano, I think for the first time, and Mekano is yelling out like a binary code. And I was like, that's awesome, because that's the same thing I use for my character, General Laszlo.
Yes.
And so he has binary code inserted into his stuff too. So I thought that was pretty cool, and that, I was like, well, I do that too. So we got something in common there, Lewis. I like that.
Listen, when machines become aware, that's always frightful.
Yes.
That is always frightful. So.
And machines tell people that too.
They do. They actually do. I mean, with this whole AI situation popping up.
And nobody's listening, but they're like, hey, it's going too far.
Yeah, I know.
Well, we have a lot of examples by this, but hey, what do I know?
Maybe they should take a cue from Lewis's book here and see that, there may be a fight coming our way.
And we're going to need a luchador to handle it.
Exactly.
What did you think about the new clerks, Jimmy and Johnny?
They're so cute. I know they're eyeballs. Is that weird? I'm going to say it anyway. They're so cute. Honestly, watching them, I felt like I want to pay off my late fees.
Well, in the other book, if you don't pay off the late fees, she puts you on a hook and takes a chainsaw to you.
Okay, then I'm definitely paying them off.
Yeah. I also put the one thing that I definitely liked was the superpowered luchador.
Yes.
That was cool.
It's fun to watch. I love that he brings all his Spanish glamour into it. And
I wanted to ask you about that. So
no manches.
Yeah, I enjoyed that too, because he put the little tag in there to tell you what the Spanish word, what it meant. I thought that was really cool
fun.
Too.
It's tasteful, for sure.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. And I also put, actually I mentioned this earlier, the clever use of a public domain figure.
Yes.
Because that was awesome.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if I saw that original comic in public domain, I would probably not utilize that character. But now I'm like, wow, that's awesome. What did you really like about this book?
Honestly, it was definitely Video Witch. I think she is something fierce. And she just kind of, she's telling us what we're going to watch, and we're going to watch it.
And you've been warned.
I've been warned, and I'm in it for it. I'm there.
And there's a lot of areas that he could go with this character, too.
Yes.
Because every book is completely different from the previous one. In the last book, or the first one, I should say, Lewis included an actual Video Witch membership card.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, I have that one filed away in a special place though, because I only have one.
Right.
And he just continues to deliver, because Video Gaga was amazing, and his art's got really good.
Yeah.
I mean, not that the first one wasn't good; it was amazing. But what I saw in this book, this was like, I mean, you would think that this was a mainstream, right?
It is. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So another thing that I really liked about it was Video Witch's 80s workout gear.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
Yes, that was cute. That was groovy. I loved it.
The thigh-high socks.
It kept in theme. Yeah.
It did keep it in theme.
Yeah.
And then also, her abs are tight. I put that. I was like, damn, Video Witch, she's like working out.
I know. I need to take some views. She's got a big old backside too.
Actually, those stretches, I think that little heart comes out of my head too. I get that back pop in. Another thing I really liked was the news flashback, because like I said, that was like a cool Watchmen style.
Yes.
and he did an excellent job of really capturing that 40 style hero, and it actually kind of made the art look a lot different from the actual art he was doing.
It did, and because again it was void of color, he really needed to make sure that what he was portraying would resonate and make sense, and the fact that they were flashing back and bringing in those old school characters, it was a good detail. I liked it.
And that's the thing too, is that being black and white, there's really no room to hide anything.
There's not.
You have grayscale, because I use a lot of color to hide stuff.
Okay.
Because seriously, like Mookie's confetti fist, I'll go confetti crazy. So yeah, I use a lot of color because, well, I have to hide certain things, and then you can get creative with the speech bubbles too, to kind of hide bad work. But for me, I don't think he has. He's probably thinking, "Hey, where do I put the speech bubble at? All this looks really good." I also did like the original comic insert, but like I said, it really needed that commentary.
It did.
Yeah,
it did.
It needed that help.
And as you mentioned earlier, placement was key.
Yes.
It definitely, right when you started to kind of lose interest, here was Video Witch popping in and making that quick, zippy, and you were like, oh, okay, yeah, that's exactly right.
And she really hit it. She really hit it every time.
It was good.
It was awesome. Okay, so the next thing here. Okay, so now, what did you love about this comic?
How fun it kept. It was very light and it was fun. To me, it felt fun. So sometimes you get into some storylines that are darker, and I appreciated that not only was it light and humorous throughout, but it touched key notes where we're giving the original comic book a nod, and we're moving it along into the new futuristic, the new Captain Future here. So.
And another thing too is that I liked about that was the fact that the comic itself, it just like naturally had a very good progression.
It did. It did. There was no moment where you were just kind of like.
And he uses every little bit of space.
Yes.
That's what I love about his comics. Like every single bit of space is taken up by some type of art. And it's so crisp too. I think I was saying that earlier. Like his art is like so crisp. And so speaking of things I loved about the comic, the shining carpet on the last page. Did you notice that?
You know what? I didn't. Now that you're pointing it out, OMG.
Yeah.
I did not. Wow.
So that's like
awesome.
Because The Shining is my second favorite comedy.
Yeah.
It gets funnier every single time I watch it. It's it's a family vacation.
Right.
It's like a darker version of Summer Rental. I put the flawless crossovers was something I loved about this book. Yeah. When I saw that first one, like my jaw dropped because I was like, how did he nail this crossover so well?
Right. It was very well done.
And because we're kind of in the business.
Yes.
And, wow, that's amazing.
Yes.
And I put on here that so after the original comic, the Video Witch having a conversation with herself, that to me that is like the essence of Video Witch, because like you're looking at it and you're like, okay, is she talking to me? Who is she talking to? I don't know. And then what was really clever too is that as Jimmy and Johnny are talking to each other, their speech bubble is like covering up hers.
Yes, it does. It does.
Right. So you're like, well, wait a second. Am I behind them? Then who is she talking to?
Yeah, it was actually very well done. I did notice that too, and I thought she was just blabbering on in her own world.
Exactly.
And just kind of on the outside, looking in. It's good.
Yeah, it was so funny. Like I just couldn't get over like the fact that she was just like playing on the counter talk because you know what? I've kind of done that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Another thing is that I liked is that this biscuit has basically 3 reads in it, because you have the Video Witch story.
Yes. Yes.
And that's like a beginning, a middle, and an end. And then between those, you have the Captain
Captain
Future
Future,
comic,
yeah.
and then you have the retro comic.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
It was pretty
That's
cool.
why it's cool the way it flows like that.
Yeah, I appreciated the way it transitioned, and it kept even though it was 3 different reads, it was still one complete story, which was kind of fun.
Yeah, definitely. And so the last thing I have here is something that we discussed at the beginning, was the amazing cover.
Yes.
So the cover was so awesome, and it's cool too because it looks like he literally took like a box, like a VHS box, and just unfolded it.
Yes.
Like you even see the videotape at the bottom, and you see the stickers on the cover, and it's actually like degraded, so it looks like it's people have checked this out a lot.
Exactly, and that's what it felt. It felt like it was literally the cover of an old cassette videotape, and you were just pulling it from the shelf. And it was such a cool concept.
And how did you feel about the actual video at store?
Again, it brought me back to the Blockbuster days where, that was Friday night, right? That was Friday night, going through the aisles, scanning your titles, and picking out the candy and the popcorn you were going to eat along, and that's what we were looking at.
They used to have those little Nestle Crunches that were the little bite-sized ones that were like crumbles.
Yes.
I remember those. Because I would hit the anime section, because the Blockbuster near Damon, he was my buddy that I interviewed last time.
Yeah.
Him and we used to go to this Blockbuster all the time, and they had a huge anime section. It was just enormous.
Oh, mine didn't.
No, it was very special. And then once they started getting rid of a lot of the stuff,
right,
they started selling those, and so we started buying them up.
Oh, look at
yeah, they had
Figures.
they had some classic ones there too. So is there anything else that you'd like to contribute to this?
I just want to say, I think he did a phenomenal job. It was fun read. It was a good time. So, yeah. That's it. I think this is a thumbs up for me.
Yeah, definitely. And so if you want to pick up this comic, it's available at Blackbird Comics. You can tell them Joshua Mammoth sent you. And definitely pick up that, and pick up Video Gaga. And if you have a little extra money, pick up a Mammoth Syndicate title and tell me how much you hate it.
No.
So another win for Luis. And I want to thank you very much for coming over.
Thank you so much. It was so much fun.
Hopefully I wasn't too much of a waste of a Saturday. So between the known and the unknown lies the mammoth. I'll see you next time.